Chris Cote, I got something from your father that while it may not be quite unprecedented, it's about as close to an apology as he ever comes, which was just explaining and excusing that the reason that he yelled at the security guard is because he's cranky and tired because the local teams win too much. And he has to work too much.
Been waiting for this his entire life.
And now the result is, and I think we can say this is true of all fandom, put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show, is the greatest sign of sports passion yelling at the security guard because you're cranky and tired from your team's winning. Because there's a lot of emotion spilling out in all directions. Charlotte doesn't know what to do with hers. What the hell's the take? What's this hottest take that's not the hottest take that you think is a good take that you're not sure is a good take before you've even finished half of it?
Okay, that if the NBA were truly diabolical and they wanted to get the most juice out of this finals, you've got Miami, you've got Denver, have them play in LA and New York and get all the celebrities courtside and blow it up into this huge big thing.
It's a great take.
And totally scorn your fans. Make it national.
That's a great take. I actually think it shouldn't be New York and L.A. I think it should be Boston and L.A. That to please Adam Silver and what the nation actually wants. We can't give you those teams in the finals, but we will give you the teams you don't want playing in the arenas that would have been.
You want them to play in.
The arena you wanted to see. You wanted to sell Lakers Magic in a toolbox and Celtics Magic in a history in a toolbox. I think you're on to something there. Greg, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm a little tired. I feel bad that I yelled at a security guy. He was just doing his job. Mm-hmm. That's not on him. That's on me. I apologize.
This is a regular thing for my dad. He has moments of rage, and then he realizes it about a half hour later, and is always like, I'm sorry. He regularly will apologize for his outbursts.
But he got the thing that he wanted. Had he not gotten the thing that he wanted, I mean,
he'd still be enraged.
We're also not exploring the root of this anger, which is his son not answering his call, telling him one thing, that not being the case, and setting him up to be in this position. Yeah. Like, you have a parking pass you could have given him if you knew that he was going to drive today.
Yeah. My parking pass is actually expired because I ride the train. Mine was through May 12th.
Okay. They all say that.
Okay, well, thank you, Billy, for bringing up this topic.
Yeah, Billy's right.
Yeah. There is a source of
great
great tension, and it extends beyond Father's Day, which Chris thinks that now he's a father. It's Father's Day should be his, and his father's here to say, nope, it's Grandpa's Day. It will forever be Grandpa's Day. Something I legitimately had not considered that just came across the news. LeBron James has slightly walked back. And Chris Cote, you pointed this out a couple of weeks ago. He slightly walked back the idea of playing with his son. And this is what he says. Just because that's my aspiration or my goal doesn't mean it's his. And I'm absolutely okay with that. I had not considered Bronny's viewpoint on this. Of course you want to play with your dad, and you're thinking to yourself, Bronny doesn't want his dad on the road trips. That's still his dad.
It's embarrassing.
But it's also his dad's going to get all the attention. Like, Bronny would like to have his own experience with basketball. He doesn't need that particular shadow in his life.
I'm sure Bronny's had a really tough life because of LeBron being his dad.
I'm just saying father-son relationships are father-son relationships, and Chris Cote can tell you he's fed up with his.
I do like when my dad gives me money, though, so that helps. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
okay. Well, I'm rewriting my will after this morning. I'll tell you that.
Classic
Shifting it all to Billy.
Classic.
I
Greg
mean, I think I do pay your phone bill. I could be wrong, but when I call you 4 times, I expect you to pick up the thing. But by the way, before I get back to that, I would love it if Bronny said, Dad, I'd love to play with you, but you got to wait 4 years because I'm going to be the only college basketball player in the last 30 years to actually play 4 full seasons for USC.
How about Bronny show Dad some respect? Because Bronny's not playing in the NBA unless his dad is an all-time great.
No.
I mean, come on.
I think that's true. I think that's very true.
I'm with you.
Neither have you two have not watched a second of Bronny play.
I don't have to.
Exactly. I mean,
I don't have to either.
I mean,
if Dad was a bench player, barely in the rotation, Bronny's like, I'm better than Dad already. I don't want to play with Dad.
Are you just speaking to genetics? Because I agree with your point. that if his dad wasn't an all-time great, he wouldn't be in the NBA either.
I'm just saying, I don't think Bronny is that good. He's been elevated. He's in the top 15 recruits. I don't think he would be.
Tell me about his game.
If his last name was, White or something.
Tell me about his games, Stu.
Bronny's great from the perimeter, inside-outside game. Really has conformed to today's NBA. Can shoot the three from anywhere on the court. I mean, listen, the kid has talent. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but he's not nearly as talented as just about everyone else in the NBA.
Does he have the want to?
He doesn't have the want to. LeBron has all the want to. He doesn't have enough want. He doesn't want enough, He doesn't. But he has a nice game. He's very athletic, about 6'5". He can play the 2, the 3, and in today's NBA could probably play a little 4 as well.
Mike, why are you
versatility off the bench?
You just said he couldn't play in today's NBA.
Well, no,
well, he's going to because of LeBron.
He's 6'2".
Yeah. Stugotz a bit past his
he's
prime.
Still growing.
Stugotz is past his prime on even being able to fake it. And so he just accused, for some reason, Bronny of not having want to because it didn't fit with perimeter, inside-outside games, some of the things that he wanted to make up about Bronny's game because he doesn't know anything about Bronny's game.
Yeah, he's a big 6'2", though. I mean,
that was on
the bigger side, closer to 6'3" than 6'1". You know what I mean?
Excellent.
Let's just call it 6'4".
Excellent analysis. But here's the thing, right? I can make fun of Stugotz about this, but I just realized this last segment. The game has passed me by as well. It has. And the reason I noticed it is because Mike Ryan was talking, and he said correctly, hey, Dan, the NBA the last 4 years, because it's changed a lot. It is kind of random in the playoffs. Kawhi won that one title. That was weird. And basketball is now more random than it has been. And
the Warriors were dead. They were back, and now they're dead again.
Yeah, but it was chalk last year, was it not? Celtics were a 2 seed. The Warriors were the 1 seed, right?
Right, and look where they are. Typically, a team like the Celtics, they stick around for a while, and they have, to their credit. They've been to, 5 Eastern Conference Finals recently, but they've done a lot of suffering. They're not supposed to get wiped out by an 8 seed. That's not the way that the NBA goes.
Well, that's the traditional thing, right, Stugotz? The traditional thing, the thing that hasn't changed about basketball is, Jokic, you've got to hurt for a bit before you get there. Jimmy, you've got to hurt for a bit before you get there and actually win it. It doesn't happen where you show up and you're the dynasty. LeBron, you got to hurt for a bit before you become the dynasty. Steph, you're going to fail a few times before you get to be the guy who controls the NBA.
Giannis did it before he eventually won a championship. You're right.
You never just show up and win, but to already arrive at, hey, should they break up Tatum and Brown when 3 games ago, Brown, you give him the Supermax, period. Richest player in the sports history. You give it to him because the Celtics need him, because you need to have 2 of those guys. You used to need to have 3 of them. Not anymore. The 2 teams that are likely to play in the finals got 2. The super team era that LeBron brought in was 3. George Karl just got done telling you, yeah, Anthony Davis and LeBron, not quite enough. They probably need something else. And I'm like, 2's now enough. You can win again with 2.
Look at how 3 went for Brooklyn.
The Heat have 1. I mean,
right.
And a half.
And we thought before the season that the Heat needed a 3rd.
I think that there's also something to be said for going in with very low expectations. I think the lower the expectations, the better a team can do now. Like Miami, everybody keeps saying that they weren't going to do it. They keep doing it. And they have one superstar because you have a coach who knows how to get stuff out of his bench players and how to spot that talent.
Toolbox full of magic.
A toolbox full of magic. It's Barney bag.
I can't believe that that's where I am with the analysis after all of these years watching basketball. You know why the Heat are going to win? Because Spo's going to blow a mist in the face of Michael Malone, and it's going to disorient him at the end of games, and Jokic isn't going to be able to do step-back, one-legged, the three-pointer.
You would have torn George Karl a new one about 7 years ago had he said that.
It's all infuriating.
Yeah, but it's better than what we have.
No, it's the whole game has passed me by. I no longer, and not that I ever knew what I was talking about, but now I know less than I've ever known. Because you know what? You can lose to a toolbox filled with magic.
I told you.
What kind of analysis is that?
The intangibles, baby. Heat culture is going to defend Jokic.
Oh, God.
Well,
Heat culture will defend him.
That's where people go with it. It's coaching and intangibles and things like culture because this is so impossible to explain. This isn't the lockout season where the Knicks made it, where everyone looked at the Knicks roster and said, yeah, if they get healthy, they have a shot if they get past Miami. Like this is something without precedent in this sport over the course of a full series. And I just saw something on social media that really excited me. Michael Jordan's private jet has been spotted locally. No. The elephant print jet has been spotted.
Wow.
Is there a chance that he's in attendance today to watch what the internet has been convinced of is his son?
That Jimmy Butler's his son, or is it?
Did you see the Wheaties ad from 1989 where Jay Butler is spray painted on the wall? Huh? Did you see that? Definitely not photoshopped.
His wife is also from here, but I like your story better.
Yeah.
He also has a golf course down here.
Yeah.
Like his own golf course.
No, I mean, there's a million reasons why Michael Jordan would be down locally. But
it's to tell Jimmy Butler I'm your father, to tell him for the first time.
Mm-hmm. This jet looks sick.
Yeah, the jet looks really cool. Also, Jimmy is so crazy that I wouldn't put it past Jimmy telling Michael Jordan, no, I'm your father. No, I'm your dad. You are my son.
What is happening in this sport when at 38 years old last night, Stugotz, LeBron is being asked to play all 48 minutes and then doesn't have anything left in his legs at the end of the game? And the Lakers, the fumes of what the Lakers have been for 4 years, because these have been the best teams in the sport for the last 4 years. It's been Denver and Milwaukee and Boston, and the Lakers in and out of it, right? The Lakers winning a championship, and then when LeBron's injured, they can't do anything. But they need it. To me, man, Cote, you're an expert here because you've seen what's happened here with Pat Riley and the building of organization. LeBron James being at the end of his career with the Lakers, at the end of his time with the Lakers, and it's still all reliant on him, and Riley's deeper in the playoffs now than he is?
LeBron doesn't want to come out of the game. He's like Jimmy Butler. He's going to say, nope, I'm not coming out. I'm your guy.
Feel good about that?
.30-minute break becomes a 5-second break.
We're on air. We are on air,
He's
Greg.
rolling. He's rolling.
We are live.
Fine.
We are on air. You are exasperating. You think you nailed it because if you're going to nail the hard network out, you have to do so with a well-dismounted point that's funny, not just a shitty sports point that ends the segment and has you raising your hands because you beat the hard network out, did so by making the show shitty at the end of the segment.
I have my credibility to uphold. I do not intentionally miss hard networks out. Occasionally, I will miss one.
Right. I like this version of the game, though, where Greg is just talking as the mics are being turned on.
Well, listen, people should be in my shoes. Actually, these are terrible shoes I'm wearing, so you don't want to be in my shoes today. But in general, because here, we've had a half-hour break. This is like a 4-second break.
All over the place.
I thought we're taking a break. I'm taking off my headphones to relax for a minute.
Right.
And all of a sudden, somebody's shouting, "We're on the air! Put on your headphones!" There's no rhyme or reason here. What kind of a slipshod operation are you running around here? Christ almighty. Man.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Are we running a slipshod operation around here?
Spell that?
This is true, what I'm about to say. He's now delirious. He's so tired.
He needs a sweep.
No, you can't be this tired, this old, and be expected to do this for 3 or 4 hours. He's mad he's lashing out at everybody.
Hey, you know what? The Heat want to sweep. I want to sleep.
He's right.
That should be your chant.
Look, that would have been a good way to end the last segment.
That kind of thing. And you know it.
Put it on a T-shirt.
I should. That'd be great. It wouldn't be a big seller.
Well,
that T-shirt.
no.
But on the Greg Cote Show, we sell anything. In my merch store, the Heat wants a sweep. I want to sleep.
I want sleep.
Get that going, Christopher. Make the right call.
Just the worst merch of all time that nobody wants.
That's right. I'll buy it.
You're keeping your own business afloat by
I want
buying
that in the
your own
merch
shirt.
store. I want that in the merch store by the end of the business day.
If you bought your own merch, you'd be losing money.
Yeah, I would. I'm losing money already.
What
I don't
size?
get paid for doing this show. The Herald hadn't given me a raise in 9 years. Thank God my wife makes a decent wage. Don't get me started. Are you kidding me? Wow, I pay my son's phone bill. I mean, I got money going out.
That was
coming
true
in.
like 8 years ago.
That kind of thing. I mean, we'll see about that. I'll ask your mother. She handles all the bills things.
Zagaki.
Quit stealing my material.
What size would you like in your own merch shop?
I'll take XL. Do we sell double X? Occasionally, I'll take a double.
I mean, not
X.
if you keep missing your beer window.
That's a good point. Do we have good material on our T-shirts? Because the shrinkage.
If I said
there.
no right now, it probably wouldn't help our sales.
Well, neither is the slogan. Can you imagine people getting their sports passion? The Heat can sweep. I need to sleep.
Yeah.
That's not. That's not going to sell.
Honestly, with as much as you've discussed it, you need to have that shirt up in your merch store ASAP.
I want it. Well, we have a line of nice hat merchandise now that's flying off the shelves. It's flying off the shelves.
Nice hat merchandise.
Yeah, Jumpin' Charlie T-shirt is doing well.
You can also get a nice hat shirt.
That's true. That's true, yeah.
You can get a shirt that says nice hat.
Yes.
I would wear that. I would wear that every day of my life. Give it to me. Test me.
Christopher, arrange for a free shirt for Charlotte over here.
Very
They
nice of
say
you.
who?
We say hoot.
Another good slogan we have.
Your slogans are only good for about 3 days.
I
and
know,
It takes
you
a
gotta-
lot longer to get
Yeah,
the
there's not
shirt.
a long shelf life on the
Yeah,
slogans.
you got to get them while they're hot, man.
You can buy a nice hat shirt. and the shirt of Jumpin' Charlie standing on top of your pool table with just the caption, Bay. Click here for more designs. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have a Comley shirt coming out soon because my racehorse is on fire.
Really?
Yeah.
Big win, right?
Literally?
Big win.
I mean,
Is
given
it
the
okay?
sport,
Figured.
That would be really bad.
given what we know about the sport
Sounds awful.
and its treatment of the horses,
I'm
we
telling
have
you
to
what.
double check.
Don't get me started on Comley. Pardon me.
You're right there. It's $5.
Comley's a moneymaker, man. I'm about to get a check in the mail for almost $11.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pays for itself,
I
huh?
own the tip of his left ear. So that's my winning.
How
But
much did you invest, if you don't mind me asking?
it was thousands of dollars, but a small number.
But you're getting it back $11 at a time.
Exactly. And you know what? I didn't know this. I'm going to come off like a horse racing expert. I'm not. I'm learning. But the win she had, it's a filly. The win she had was impressive enough where it was called in the industry, it's called a black type victory. And what that means is that her future breeding fee just raised by like $200,000.
Baby.
Wow.
So that's so if you have a racehorse, everybody thinks, oh, you got to win a Triple Crown race. No, you don't. If you win some smaller races, your breeding fee goes up exponentially, and pretty soon you're an extremely valuable horse, even if nobody's ever heard of you. So we have a lot of high hopes for Comley. The King's nag, former owner King Charles of England, and now I own a piece of it, and we're very proud. Thank you, Comley, for all the work you do. Appreciate that run. Thank you all for the jockey whose name I can't remember. What a great run he had. I'll tell you that. Comley was way behind. I videotaped me the call of the race. Comley was way behind. I was going crazy. My horse is in last place. All of a sudden, the jockey finds an opening. Whoa, here comes Comley's making a move. Comley's making a move. Comley's making a move. Ends up winning by 4 lengths.
Wow.
I mean, going away. What a finish. What a run. I'm so proud.
Greg,
Man.
did the coronation do anything for the value of Comley?
That's an interesting question.
No, it isn't.
Yeah,
It is because
it is.
before it was a prince's horse, now it's a king's horse.
I
Dan.
tell you what, Billy, that's the reason that I agreed to invest in this horse. is that my whole thought process was
he's sleep deprived.
If Buckingham Palace,
look, he is sleep deprived.
What is happening?
He's falling apart.
He's cooking right now.
What I am telling you,
won by 4 lengths, Dan.
He has not been. He started the day. Look, I need to explain to the audience what's happening right now. Greg Cote has planted himself here for the entire day in the middle of a playoff run that has exhausted a dinosaur. He's got a Heat game tonight. He's staying right here across from the arena. This is the sharpest he's going to be today. This knife in the magic toolbox. This is the sharp as it gets, and it's been fading all show since he yelled at the security guard.
Heat want to sleep?
Yep.
Heat want to sleep. I want to sleep. I didn't even get that right.
I was going to do it for you.
Shirt.
I mean, seriously.
But let me tell you something.
Jesus.
Okay, Queen Elizabeth loved horses.
I heard that.
She passes away. King Charles, I'm going to break some news. King Charles hates horses.
Really?
He has divested Buckingham Palace of almost all of their horses. Okay, I have an opportunity to invest in one of the king's horses. My thought is, wow, imagine how much the King of England, the Queen of England, invests in a horse. Like she knows what's the bloodline, this, that, and the other. So it turns out I think we have a pretty good horse here.
Conley's making a move.
Also, a good performance by Love tonight. In the middle of the field, Conley now coming up on the far outside also.
Come on.
Beirut, now the favorites are coming across as
Yes.
2 furlong distance from the
Yes.
final.
Yes, Conley.
Still Conley on the top with Beirut on the outside.
Yes, Conley.
Good performance from the back, but still,
Yes.
it's just Conley.
Go,
It's
go.
clearly Conley on top of everyone to
Yes.
the poll. Then
Yes.
number 1,
Woo.
Beirut. We will see about the rest of the field.
Yeah.
A grass track, huh, Greg?
Yeah, it's a turf track. Yeah, they a lot of them in Europe are. Yeah. I tell you what, Clark Spencer, my co-partner in this horse thing, he told me.
Didn't Clark get you into it?
He did,
Yeah.
and he told me something that has proven true. He's like, we're what they call a fractional owner. I own a little bit less than 1% of a racehorse, but Clark told me, and he's right. You will feel like you're the owner. You will watch your horse run, even though you own the inside of his right nostril. You will feel like that's your racehorse. And for the first time, I experienced that. And when and that was real. That was not me faking it.
That's how I imagine Packers fans feel.
It could be. You know what? I think there's something to be said there. When you literally own this much of a team, even if it's that much, you feel invested. And I do.
Well, because you're actually invested.
Literally.
Yeah.
But it's so little, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a lot to you.
It is a lot to me. And the thing of it is, the syndicate I'm in, Team Valor International, they have a lot of major investors. So Comley may only have 20 investors, but some of them are like big 20% investors, 10%. So I'm one of a fairly small amount of people who own Comley. I just happen to own a very small part.
You ever think about maybe
tip
buying
of the tail type thing?
Buying some more? Oh,
Pardon me.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What
I
the
thought
hell
they-
is that?
He needs to sleep. I mean,
he want to sleep. Greg wants to sweep. You know.
Exactly. Thank you, Billy. Billy hits it on the head, doesn't he? Nailing it. I thought you were taking a nap. Go back to sleep.
he was.
You owe $15.
Whoa! What?
That's all his winnings.
That's two
Really?
wins. Yeah.
Jesus, I'm hosting your show for you over here. I'm the one talking. You're over here sleeping.
You're hacking coughs into the microphone. You're delirious. We're doing the show with a crazy sleep-deprived person.
I'm out of money.
Are you checking the wall?
Oh, that's the other compartment.
It's all $11.
That happens sometimes.
There's like two compartments in my
Yeah.
wallet. I only check the first
Sometimes you use only the
Right,
one.
yeah.
Oh man.
I bought a nice hat.
one. Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Putting bread in my jar. Thanks for that.
You just made back those $15, Greg.
Damn right I did. Thank you. Nice hat.
I was torn between that, a nice hat, or a nice hat apron. I went with a nice hat.
That's a good. That's a wise investment.
Oh my God, great for Father's Day to imagine.
I think the nice hat shirt is really the what's flying off the shelves right there. We don't have shelves, but if we did, they'd be flying off.
What happened to the shelf?
I don't know. What happened to the hot cake?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell the people where it is that they can buy these hats and the merch store information they need.
Christopher, do you know?
This is the new and improved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on
I can never remember the address of the merch store.
TheGregCodyShow.com.
We're going to get to Greg Cote's Back in My Day in a second. I want to see, because I don't think Greg Cote is terribly self-aware. I want to play for you, Greg, the sound of you coughing in the middle of everything that we were doing to show to you what I believe to be a general obliviousness, especially when you get delirious like this, because we're not joking when we say this run we're not even done with it. We're not quite in the middle of it, but it's still going to be something that for several days and possibly weeks continues to wear you out. The job is hurting you right now. You are legitimately exhausted. You are sleep deprived. You are crazed. And I don't think you hear yourself when in the middle of a, national thing that we're doing, you do this as a professional broadcaster, which is not something I hear very often in professional broadcasting.
Don't get me started on comedy. Pardon me.
You're right there. It's $5.
Yeah, I mean, you heard the frog in my throat. I had to clear it. Don't get me started on comedy. Frog, gotta be free. Don't get me started on comedy. That wasn't really a cough. It was just a... That's different. Clearing my throat, not coughing.
Have you ever heard that in broadcasting before? You're like watching whatever entertainment you're watching, and the professional broadcaster does that?
Sounds like the sound Comley would make.
It does. That's a good point. It sounds like an animal grunting. That's a good point, Charlotte.
Please stop that.
Yeah, please. Seriously.
Baby.
I could make a dirty joke on that about that sound, but I won't.
What would the joke be?
I'm not going to say it. Use your imagination. Just my imagination running away from me. Temptations.
Sounds like you're creating another phone bill.
All right, quit playing that. I would pay you to quit playing that sound.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, I would. Here's the money right here. Oh, damn, I don't have any money.
Give me your wallet. He's one of the cheapest people I know.
Right.
That's not true at all.
You took the 15.
It was
right?
the compartment again.
Oh, there it is. So would you pay $21 to have him stop playing that?
No.
Because that's what you have left.
No, I wouldn't. I'd pay $1.
Can you guys help me out with something that I think we sort of skipped past yesterday and did it again today, where we are talking about Carmelo Anthony, a player during a time that was one of the best scorers we've seen. He's retiring yesterday as LeBron is somehow still playing, and Dwayne Wade's about to go in the Hall of Fame. And Carmelo Anthony, who was exceptional at basketball, our tribute to him was he was a hawk.
For a day.
Our tribute to the end of his career, the day. It's hard to get where Jokic has just gotten Denver. Carmelo was really trying. He had really good teams there. He and LeBron came out in the same draft, and LeBron somehow at 38 years old, his coach is deciding, 38! I need 48 minutes from you tonight against that unicorn thing that is the MVP of the league that is trying to wrestle the league away from you. We didn't celebrate Carmelo Anthony very well, neither yesterday nor his entire career.
I mean, I think Carmelo was a very good player, and everyone expected him to be great. He wins the national championship. As a freshman, we expected greatness. What we got was very good scorer, a guy who never won a title.
Great scorer.
A great scorer, fine. But a guy who never won a title.
But not good scorer, a great scorer.
I understand that, but
a historic scorer,
a great scorer, Dan, but not a great player. I think people expected great player, guy who could be the best player in a team that wins multiple championships.
Here's a really brutal headline about Carmelo retiring. Carmelo Anthony was an NBA great, but his legacy will be defined by title-winning freshman year at Syracuse.
It's true.
Yeah.
It should be defined a little bit more about with some of the international basketball that he's played.
Banana boat.
Because you can make an argument that he's probably the best performer in a USA jersey.
You could say he's our most decorated American basketball player.
But no one cares about that.
No, they don't care about that. And to a lesser degree, Actually, probably to a little bit in this country, international basketball doesn't really resonate unless it's a gold medal game. People care when they lose, but a Syracuse national title means more, I think, in the eyes of basketball fans.
I know, but the all or nothing thing is just generally annoying to me because there are a lot of really great players, and sometimes Giannis gets knocked out, and it doesn't make him any less great. Carmelo came up in an era, oh, look, holy shit, what it took to beat him. LeBron and Dwayne. And then they teamed up. And Carmelo got to the Western Conference Finals. Hey, good job. Nah, not really. You got traded to New York, and now New York has the conversation of should we retire your number? And that
of course they should, right?
But that creates laughter.
Will.
But it creates laughter.
And it should, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Look, I think if Carmelo happened a generation before, he'd be talked about like in this insane tier. But his game kind of peaked as the game started evolving and people started paying more attention to efficiencies and defensive side of the game. Whereas, like, if you hold him up to his contemporaries, he has shortcomings when it comes to efficiencies and when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. He was kind of an afterthought defensively. He was just a bucket getter, scorer by any means necessary.
But when you say his contemporaries are holy shit historic. And, yeah, a lot of people are going to pale. A lot of people are going to pale there. It's why we're still sitting here. Denver just advanced, and we're still talking about LeBron because holy shit, look who his contemporary is.
And his contemporaries separated themselves by ring chasing because they were all about Ghost and Kobe and Jordan were kind of hanging over every discussion, even though Melo split like half of his tenure with Kobe, even more so. It's just he was a solid player, especially for the Knicks. He was probably their best player.
Very good for the Knicks.
He's the best player of the 21st century, but I think that's an indictment.
Dan, he made it to a single Western Conference final.
I know, but Stugotz, the all or nothing in it. Giannis hasn't made a whole lot of finals yet. Like it's
He's
hard.
won one, though.
I understand, but he came very close to not winning one. And to me, he wouldn't be any less great if Durant had stepped back a foot further. But the way this stuff gets remembered is deeply unfair when we're talking about echoing historic greatness. And you guys are here saying solid, good. Yeah. And it's like, no, that's not what that was. That wasn't just solid and good. Like that's.
It wasn't Giannis. That's what it wasn't.
I understand, but if there are 10 guys better than you and you're the 11th best for an era in which the entire sport is changing, generally speaking, if I was that, I wouldn't want to be laughed at. I'd like to be celebrated a little more than that.
But the ring does a lot for a player. Dan, if Jokic wins an NBA championship, we won't be,
He's no less great for me if he doesn't.
But he will in the eyes of many. Same with Jimmy Butler.
But what I'm telling you is that both of those two have proven to me already whatever needs to be proven. And if Jokic gets hurt right now and Jimmy wins, Jokic isn't going to be any lesser of, I can't believe that exists.
But just Carmelo wasn't that good. Like he was looked at as this guy that was really good. Go ahead, run the numbers between Carmelo and LaMarcus Aldridge. What you'll find is LaMarcus Aldridge was a better player. And that's what forcing his way to New York did for Carmelo Anthony. He was a huge superstar entering the game, but he totally nuked that Knicks roster by trying to force it and maximize his dollar over there. And he never got to play in these hugely important games in the pros where you'll see now Jokic is finally getting the credit that people have been begging for. Why? Because the spotlight has grown. Carmelo isn't that good when you compare him to the greats of his time. He is just LaMarcus Aldridge. That is all he is.
I think Carmelo is hurt by the idea that his career took a slow fade. He played for 5 teams his last 6 seasons, mostly as a reserve. So when he announces his retirement, the initial reaction is, oh, he was still around? Because that hurts the legacy. When a chunk of your career is spent slowly fading and not being what you used to be.
I got to be honest. I didn't think we could do it worse as an honoring of a man's greatness than we did by simply laughing at him, but we've done it worse. We are urinating now, actively urinating on Carmelo Anthony being good at basketball.
Zagaki, and I just want to say that, brother, the eyes of many is the problem. We need to be able to say, yes, he won a championship as a freshman. That is spectacular. How many championships as freshmen in the room? Anybody? Like, this is people who are great at what they do. Forget the titles, man. Forget all this stuff. 90% of people don't win what we are putting on top of this mountain. Let that man go off on the sunset, man. Salute to you. Retire the number, dog. Thank you, Melo, brother.
For what?
He's positive, and there's no room for that around here. Juju,
No.
go sit in the penalty box.
He's
a great
behind
college
in win
player.
shares of LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, he was a great college player.
Fantastic. Shifted the paradigm in college basketball.
He had a really good
Disappointing
career. He was not a top echelon superstar. I think he's getting the amount of retroactive praise that he deserves.
I don't think we're talking enough about Hoodie Mello. What he did for hoodies, unprecedented in this league.
Yeah, especially by gassing up like, oh, he's a different guy now, and no, he's not. He's just the same guy. Guys, like,
also be friends with the best players in the league.
That's
a good hint.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Like
what
Chris Paul.
Dude, to do this in the middle of the conference finals when I thought he had retired 2 years ago, it's very look at me, Louie. Super look at me, Louie. Like, you don't deserve all of this.
No.
He doesn't. He doesn't, and I'm always there defending him, saying he's the best international baller that we've had on the international level. But it's ridiculous. We're having a conversation about what? Who?
No, Mike is right, Dan. You want to make this announcement. You want to announce your retirement. You don't do it like while LeBron's making another run. You do it in July.
He's not Paul George.
I'm
not
serious.
even Paul George.
Where it's just
Dude,
me.
I told you he's not even LaMarcus Aldridge. Like he's just all right.
No.
He's just all right. He did so in a Knicks uniform, and then everything gets overrated.
Come on, man.
Greg, do you understand what I'm saying? The timing of the announcement is very important.
Yes.
Because you do it during the NBA Finals, and no one's going to pay attention because you were a good player. You do it in July or August where it's just me, you, baseball, and Joey Chestnut, and then we celebrate Carmelo Anthony the way Carmelo Anthony deserves to be celebrated.
You know,
right? It's time. It's a timing
you know who was a
issue.
better pro? You know who had a better pro peak?
no.
Sean Marion.
Oh.
Yeah,
Can we do this for Sean Marion?
Yeah.
Oh, for the love of God.
Sean Marion should announce his retirement. Has he retired? I'm kidding, of course.
it is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste. Only 96 calories available for delivery. Dan, until Sunday, he hadn't won a major since 2019. Last month, at Augusta, I barely recognized him during the final round. But Dan, after firing a final round 67 on one of the toughest courses in the world to win his third PGA and fifth major championship, make no mistake about it, Brooks Koepka is back.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do the other three majors in golf condescend the PGA?
They do. Dan, you know what the B in Brooks stands for?
I do not.
It stands for back and by day at the gym. You know what else it stands for?
No.
Bender.
Yeah. I don't understand what was his eyes were.
You know what was happening.
I do know what was happening, actually.
2 teams in the men's Final Four. 1 team in the women's Elite 8. NBA team up 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hockey team up 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. PGA winner from West Palm Beach. Baseball team has won 7 of 10. We own sports.
I feel like those last 2 were a bit of a reach.
West Palm a little far up. I mean,
baseball team has won 7 of 10, as if all of sports is talking about the Marlins' 1-run victories.
Dan, you know what the S in Simone Halep stands for?
Why would I know that?
It stands for steroids. That's why. When Rafael Nadal turns down an invitation to play on the red clay at Roland Garros, it means one of 2 things. He's dead or he's hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You agree?
I mean, he also plays hurt. That guy's going to have foot problems for the rest of his life because he's given too much to that game.
Yeah. A tip of the cap to the great Jim Brown. I think Rafa should just send the left arm out to play. Keep an eye on Orlando City, the Lions. Dan, when discussing Jim Brown, using the sentence, he walked into places where there were rival gangs and made them put their guns down. Collision course. You used it yesterday. You did.
Makes him put them on the table.
Yeah.
He does. Well, it's pretty impressive. I mean,
it is.
I don't know a lot of people who can do that.
What, knowing you would say that? It would be the favorite to win the French. His left arm.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Would Nadal's left arm be the favorite to win just his left arm be the favorite to win the French?
Brooks Koepka, do it at Augusta. In fact, I think his left arm would be ranked top 5 in the world. Do you?
Just an arm.
Just his left arm. Yes.
Just laying on the court.
Yes. Brooks Koepka may have won the PGA, but Michael Block won our hearts and captured our imaginations. And sometimes, Dan, those things have a greater impact. Block should not play this week. That's a terrible decision by Block. Just let it rest, man. Let us remember the good times, the hole-in-one. Yeah. I don't want to see you go plus 15, not make the cut. I don't want to see it. Thank you for agreeing, Greg.
I do.
In honor of Rafa's looming retirement, top 5 lefty sports figures of all time. Number 5, Steve Carlton. Number 4, Lefty Drizel. Number 3, Nadal. Number 2, Bill Russell. Number 1, Phil. Here come the Astros. The Stros. They're playing good baseball, Dan. Have you noticed? No one's paying attention to baseball.
They have for a long time. The Astros have been pretty good for a while.
Yeah. They say hockey goalies lose 15 pounds per game. Put the pads on me. I'm one quadruple overtime a game away from hitting my target weight. Dan, you know what the B in BAM and the B in Butler stands for?
Big balls.
Balls. Big balls. Big, enormous, gigantic balls. Balls on top of balls.
Really?
Catch my drift, Dano?
Yeah.
Ball it.
All right. Death, taxes, and the Duncan Robinson game. Bob Baffert euthanized another horse, and the jockey went to the hospital. Probably something someone should take a closer look at, Greg.
I'm on it.
All right. No, you're not. You're contributing to it.
No, we can argue about that. By the way, as for your list, Lefty Grove would like a word.
Sorry. Bob Baffert celebrating a Preakness win the day after he euthanized another horse. Bad look, Dan. You know what the B in Bob stands for?
Bad luck.
You are on your game. Grant Williams. Why?
Quit that.
You know what the W in Williams stands for?
I do not.
Why? You're doing so good. Great example of how expectations shake everything. The Mother. Jennifer Lopez. Great movie. Had no idea she made it. Found it. Purchased it. Thought it would stink. It was great. If I thought it was going to be great, it would have been just okay. Top 5 movies where expectations shaped the way I felt about the movie. Number 5, Heat. De Niro, Pacino, people dying in the streets, guns, on film for the first time together, sprinkle in some Val Kilmer. How could it be bad?
Bad?
It was terrible.
Bad? What are you talking about?
Expectations shape everything. I thought it would be the greatest movie I was ever going to see. It's just okay. Now, had I found it, not knowing they made the movie, then purchased it, would have been one of the all-time greats. Thank you.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Is it The Mother or is it Mother, the J-Lo movie?
Not sure.
It's also on Netflix. You didn't purchase it. Salute to you. I love you, though.
I purchased Netflix. Though.
Put it on the
Actually,
poll.
I didn't purchase that either.
Put it on the poll. Is Mother or The Mother better than the movie Heat?
Number 4, Point Break. Thought it would be okay at best. A haggard Gary Busey, surfers, Bodhi Zaffa, rubber mask, and a red hot chili pepper. Turned out to be one of the top 10 cinematic experiences of my lifetime.
That would be a waste of time.
Incredible film.
A great movie, right? But you thought it would stink.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be awful. Loved it.
Exactly. The Program, number 3.
Oh, no.
Never heard of it.
The greatest movie preview in the history of movie previews. Kids laying on the road. You had Latimer, painted faces. Thought it was going to be an all-time classic. An all-time stinker. Rocky 4. No more Mickey. Can't fight Apollo again. He's already accomplished everything. Might be okay, but not nearly as good as the first 3. But then, Drago. Apollo dies. Mickey is gone. Adrian's speech from the beach, Siberia, workout scene, and boom, greatest Rocky movie of all time. And number 1 is First Blood. I thought it would be the greatest movie ever. I was wrong. It was better.
It is weird that I don't think you picked a movie other than Mother that has been made in the last 30 years.
There you go.
It's been a while for
Leave it up.
Greg, you've been particularly bad this segment.
Thank
Just
you.
sort of.
It's not my segment. I was enjoying the observations.
But you're making drinking sounds into the microphone, and we're hearing you
fine with it.
open your thermos, and you're kind of making.
Seriously? That's making noise?
I didn't hear it.
Thanks,
I didn't
Billy.
hear it. Yeah.
See? Nobody heard it.
Here come the Mets.
Nobody heard it. Except the sound of me grunting, he keeps playing it over and over again. That's
I
not
think,
on me.
honestly, we should commend Greg for saving the planet and not wasting cups by using a thermos.
That's
you know,
right.
Instead of shaming him.
I didn't want to falsely advertise the beverage I'm consuming. You know, it's not a sponsor.
Is
I
it
don't
coffee?
think.
Is there coffee?
No, it isn't. It's a cold beverage.
You're drinking?
No, well, yes, I am drinking.
He's approaching his window.
No, it's a soft drink. Begins with a C. No, I'm just kidding. Quit that noise!
No.
People think I'm continuing. They think that's live. It's just he's replaying a grunt. It's a terrible sound. God, I hate that. Can't believe it's coming out of my body.
Thank you. Dan.
That wasn't me. That's him playing the sound again.
Sorry. Dan, you know what the silent T in Matthew Kachuk stands for? Esticles. Alls. Antelopes. Big, gigantic antelopes. You catch my drift?
No, it's very subtle.
The T was silent. He said,
Yeah.
Esticles.
Esticles.
Get it?
Right.
Esticles?
That's good.
Seems like every big shot Caleb Martin takes, he makes. Dan, you know what the C in Caleb stands for?
Clutch.
Culture. In this week's edition of May, Jadeveon Clowney said it would be nice to return to Houston. And Joe Burrow said he knows what he wants. I'm pretty sure Wayne Gretzky can no longer move his face. The great one.
Oh, no.
More like the fake one.
No. No.
When he speaks, his teeth whistle. Stacey Augman's nickname would be more appropriate for Wayne Gretzky at this stage of his life.
Man, plastic man.
His teeth do whistle.
Yeah.
Whistles while he works.
Jeff Conine banging the drum to start the Panther game. You know what the J in Jeff Conine stands for and the C in Conine? Johnny come lately. Anthony Davis averaging 29 points, 14 rebounds, nearly 3 blocks, and over a steal per game, and is somehow getting outplayed. Hell is going on. Speaking of hell, Art Briles.
Dan, those were the weekend observations.
Thank you.
Stugotz, you know that the Boston Celtics pride themselves on being a historic franchise that has a lot of championships in the day of Bill Russell, but only one in the century we're presently living in.
Mm-hmm.
But they were really close last year. And not only really close with a young core that offered possibility for years to come. And that has now been reduced to the following quote given to Chris Forsberg by Marcus Smart.
Okay.
The entire winning of the Celtics has come down to this rallying cry, bringing the team together, saving their coach, and saving Tatum from an offseason of cruelty, for mental frailty, and possibly Jaylen Brown leaving Boston altogether, while you watch Bill Simmons and Kendrick Perkins and everybody say, break up the core, it's finished. The rallying cry headed into tonight down 3-0 from Marcus Smart, former Defensive Player of the Year and tough guy, is don't let us get one. Don't let us get one, because then we go back home where we lost the last 2 times and we're still broken, but don't let us get one.
Don't you dare.
Don't you? Yes,
God.
that's right.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
On a totally unrelated note, fans should be allowed to root for whoever they want to root for. You know, life is too short to root for terrible things. My heart may stop tomorrow. You know what I mean? If I want to root for a winner, I should just be allowed to. What if I die tomorrow? You know?
Right.
I mean, that's very dark, unnecessarily dark.
You just want to leave me on this Celtics island, Juju.
You have changed your allegiances in a way that's fraudulent, and you are allowed to just enjoy sports because it's brave people challenging each other.
Did you purposely put that up to the mic to twist that off?
Yeah, he's thirsty.
Look at where it is. It's way over here. It's
Yeah.
off mic.
Mm-hmm.
As a professional says, it's off mic.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have heard that.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
We did.
I
sorry.
didn't.
Well, what did it sound like?
Yes,
do
you
it
did,
again.
Billy.
Hang on.
Well, that's different. That's right next to it.
Yeah, that's going out of your way.
Yeah, really.
That's an engineering thing, though. You got to talk to B3 about that. Like, that's not a Greg thing.
Thanks, Billy.
I have to admit, he's having a great show today.
He is. Let's do it back in my day. Can't believe, none of us can believe that he has one today.
First time in about 6 weeks.
And now it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guy, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Yeah, I like it. It's
That I heard.
An opening act. Thank you. Salt and pepper. Where did you go? Oh, twin centuries of the dinner table. You were always there, reliable and regally silent as the Queen's Guard, looking over the plates and cutlery as diners were seated at a restaurant. What happened? Now the once essential accoutrements of dining have disappeared, given now only by special requests these days, and then begrudgingly, as if it were an imposition. Could I have a salt shaker? I ask every time. For a moment, the server gives me a blank stare. I fill the silence with my standard joke. My doctor says I need more iodine in my diet. Eventually, I get salt, hoping it's in a proper shaker and not one of those terrible little packets. Walk into a restaurant nowadays, and you're more likely to find salt and pepper sitting at your table singing Shoop than you are to find a shaker of sodium chloride alongside another offering of alkaloid piperine. Restaurant industry, I'm not asking for expensive Icelandic lava salt or blue Persian rock salt or even kosher salt. Just make available, please, a vessel containing your standard Morton's table salt so I might heroically rescue an underperforming steak when needed or spray a dust of those magic crystals to wake up some dozing asparagus. The first known salt shaker is traced to 1858 and credited to John Mason, yes, the Mason jar guy. S&P shakers were their revolutionary design of epic simplicity. They began a twin staple, of restaurants and homes around the 1920s, and they really took off during the Great Depression of the 1930s because ceramic producers worldwide turned to small, inexpensive items. 2 generations ago in my family, they'd buy large blocks of salt to save money, and my Nana, Nellie Doogie, would grate salt off the block and funnel it into a small glass shaker. The salt and pepper shaker became so interwoven in Americana that ones of unusual design, like the 2 plump little pilgrim shakers Publix supermarket sold, became collectibles. The beloved shakers remain twin staples of the dining experience, as integral as the plate itself or the knife and fork for all of our lives. Until recently, Salt Bae may be an Instagram celebrity for its flourish in using salt, but our ability...
Jesus. Okay.
Thank you.
For what?
I'm getting all choked up talking about salt.
Yeah.
But our ability to use it ourselves in restaurants is fading to oblivion. If only we had the voice of Dateline's Keith Morrison to help unspool the mystery. Look, McDonald's blames a wave of theft of their little plastic twins. Many restaurants say it's simply a cost-cutting measure. Finer restaurants often have diva chefs who believe their food is being sent out perfectly seasoned as is. Health-conscious establishments often look down at salt. For sure, the anti-shaker trend was accelerated during the pandemic when we were afraid to touch anything that might have just been touched. The combination has robbed us, diminished us of a dining society, of an opportunity. Carnival Midway got to have cotton candy. Ballpark got to have hot dogs. Honky Tonk Bar got to have a jukebox. And restaurant tables need salt and pepper. The 2 plump little pilgrim shakers, they are weeping today. And so should we all. This is all our responsibility, folks. Demand to speak to the restaurant manager and insist they bring back the salt and pepper. Shake, 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 shake your doo-day. Shake your doo-day, because I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
Chris Cote, why is
ChatGPT has a long way to go.
Take a breath, my friend.
Wow.
I was worried.
That was tough.
I was worried he was going to faint the entire time.
I'm out of practice.
It's a good song, though.
The delivery was not.
You did great.
Shake,
great,
shake, shake.
Yeah, shake your duty, because it's all of our duty to ask for salt and pepper.
I feel like I've witnessed history this show.
It's been great.
I feel like I'm here for something historic with Greg Cote today.
Wow. Thank you, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
I was not aware that the salt and pepper shakers had become extinct.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Dan has an S&P person that just travels with him.
Right. One of his personal assistants is in charge exclusively of bringing the salt and pepper
Right, I just
shaker.
said that.
Yeah.
He has an S person and a P person.
That's right. Well said, Billy.
Thanks, Greg.
But open it. That was good. You can open it. Take a sip.
I'm afraid now. I'll wait till the end of the segment.
We're all rooting for you, Greg. Open the water bottle.
It's fine,
Okay.
Greg. You've done enough today. Yeah, just open
Let me
it.
open it super quietly here.
Shouldn't there be an announcement of some sort if we're going to just make the salt and pepper shakers extinct? Shouldn't that have
Well,
been?
who would announce it?
They don't want
The
you to
president?
know. They don't want you to know.
Actually, yeah.
You know, I'm in my favorite Mexican restaurant. I always like to pour extra salt on my chips and salsa.
And this is, he takes a chip, dips it in the salsa, and before it goes in his maw, takes a little salt.
Right.
It's not like he's salting the chips. He's salting each individual bite.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, this is ridiculous.
Can a man eat? I mean, what's the problem?
Thank you. I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you something, Greg? Have you thought about do you bring your own?
No.
Well, I think maybe it's time, like, have a little pouch so that they don't spill everywhere. Put a salt and a pepper. Yeah, a little holster.
It's
yeah,
a lot
put it
of
on
work,
a belt.
Charlotte. That's a lot of work for salt.
That's not a bad idea, though. I think she's onto something.
it.
No, she's on to something,
Yeah.
but how about the restaurants just have salt?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Salt and pepper.
It's a gag.
And it can, I'm not an elitist. It can be the little plastic shaker.
Wow, breaking news sound.
Aaron Rodgers has limped off the New York Jets practice field.
I saw it.
Clearly
I don't wanna talk about
favoring
it.
his ankle, saying something is not right.
I was hoping you wouldn't see it, Mike.
End of an era.
It just started, man.
End of an era.
It's already going poorly.
It's like Melo's era in Atlanta.
The worst.
Stugotz was talking about Nadal's left arm. By the time the Jets are done with him, they're going to have only his left arm behind quarterback. It's not the one he throws with.
It'd still be the best quarterback in franchise history.
Let's play the sound here that I'm hoping for. Don't let us get one. tonight when the hub breaks down in tears and fires everybody. I want to go back to a conversation we were having yesterday that we never finished because some people around our show, we have not instigated this. I guess we've encouraged it just by playing it, but I am told that their servers are breaking in Boston because all of a sudden our audience just wants to be on hold, badgering some poor call screener who's got the bad job of being a call screener at midnight in, Radio Land.
This all happened very organically, too. We didn't send our audience over there. We just said organically, this is something we like to do after Boston loses in sports. And then everyone just started kind of enjoying it.
Well, Cortez and his cousin.
Yes, and his cousin is the one responsible for the Pitbull Culo song, right?
I think Pitbull's responsible for that song.
Yeah.
And Lil Jon.
Regardless, infiltration happened on the hub, the sports hub, and it sounded like this.
Let me take another call while we wait for that. Jason is in Boston, has thoughts on Jalen and Jason struggling. Hi, Jason.
Hey, fellas. Thanks for taking my call. Everyone is talking about Joe Mazzulla tonight, and rightfully so. But I want to talk about the stars, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I don't think either of them was good enough tonight. I watched the game myself from the new La Canaria by Fenway, and both of them were playing like...
Let's go, Heat! You cowards! Okay.
Okay.
We were warned about this potentially tonight. But thanks for the phone call. We appreciate it.
Billy, you corrected me, and I didn't have confidence yesterday. You said culo is not the asshole. It is just the ass. But I have talked now to Hispanic people and done some reporting, research, and journalism, and I have learned, yes, culo is also the asshole.
I mean, not in the context.
Not in this context, you think.
Okay.
You're not sure what pit...
Okay.
I didn't say that. That's not me. Artificial intelligence is impersonating me.
Okay.
Something's happening here.
Okay.
Greg?
Dad, that is you. You just said that.
Okay.
Well, I was agreeing with something. Over something said. I don't know what it was.
Gamble on by DraftKings.
I stand by my agreeing with it.
He's delirious.
That's not you, Dad.
He doesn't know.
to add a little something to Marcus Smart telling Chris Forsberg, sending a message, don't let us get one. Jaylen Brown has now been quoted by Jay King, don't let us win tonight.
Oh, boy. These are not even original. Kevin Millar said that for the Red Sox.
What are we doing? What are they doing? What? Don't let us get one? The Heat are like, yeah, we weren't planning on it, and we're not going to. Like, oh, yeah, that's really scary, guy. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. And I love Marcus Smart, and he did make his hair green again, which I think they lost the first 2 games because his hair wasn't green, but then his hair was green for the third one, and they just gave up.
My sister in Christ, I love you. There's room over here. You know,
never.
Life is too short to root for bad teams. Heat and 1.
This is the rallying cry now. Don't let us win one. The idea being that they're not going to take it. The only way they will have it is if it is given to them. If they are,
if you let us.
If would you allow us?
Can we have a win?
Would you allow us to win one? That's where the Celtics season is, so that we can have the hope of then needing to win 3 straight after that.
There's a particular kind of pain that I'm feeling right now. Like starting in 2018, I remember I wrote a piece for Sports Illustrated, said America would love this team if they weren't. It was my job. And I said America would love the Celtics if they weren't from Boston, because everyone hates Boston. And now they have just like completely done away with that goodwill because they've been here so many times, we've gotten so close, it just sucks.
We finally got to where it is that Charlotte is disgusted on delay with her basketball team.
I'm going to hub to completion tonight.
Baby.
You're waiting. That's been the highlight so far of your entire postseason experience. Even as much as you love the Panthers, there's been nothing that is, as you love Kachuk, you love everything that's happening right now, but nothing makes you happier than tuning in to sports radio in Boston late at night and listening to the misery, correct?
Still, the best part of the postseason so far has been after Game 7. Beating that Boston Bruins team. That's still my favorite hub experience so far. But, you know, every time you go on the hub, some people like me, I go for something different every time. So tonight when I'm hubbing, we'll see. We'll see.
Hubbing.
It's rude.
Sometimes they're on the hub for a little bit. Sometimes they're on the hub for a longer time. Depends on how much you've had to drink.
Chris Cote, you mentioned your father was talking about salt and pepper shakers, and you were talking about restaurant meetings and awkward restaurant socializing.
I was talking about when I went to a restaurant recently, Chili's, by the way, 2 for $25, big fan. I wanted to. Did you guys hear that? I had to clear my throat.
No, they're laughing. They're laughing at your reference of doing spokesman work for Chili's.
Like Chris has these weird things where like he's in the middle of doing something and then just is like, I'm going to do something else. Like on the Greg Cote show with Greg Cote this past week, it was a roast for Chris for his birthday, and Chris not once but twice left his own roast to go outside and check on someone who was doing work on his driveway. So like there's people wishing him happy birthday, they're saying nice things about him, and he just writes in the chat BRB LMAO and walks away for 20 minutes, and everyone in the group is like, is he coming back? Like this is supposed to be honoring him. What's going on right now?
The old 2 birds, 1 stone.
And by the way, thank you, stand-up comic Brad Williams, for emceeing the surprise roast we had for Christopher on the Greg Cote Show podcast. One of the funniest men in America, Brad Williams.
So I'm at Chili's, and me and my wife eating with my daughter. We see a family that we know, okay? Friend of a friend. Definitely not, people we would get invited to their things. Like, it's just, yes, we know them. And we do the thing where, oh, hi, like waving from across the restaurant. I turn around, do the awkward, hey, all right? That's it. That's all it should be. If you're not somebody that's going to, if I'm not going to hang out with you throughout the year, if we're not going to get together on our own, I don't need you to do what they did was then, as they're leaving, they got to come and do the walkover. They got to come over.
So annoying.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Good to see you. How's our connection? We talk about the person that's connected us. How's this person? That was the last time you saw them. All right, well, good talking to you. It's just 3 minutes of just unnecessary. They don't want to be talking to us. We were good with maybe on the way out, just throw me a a little wave again, a second wave on the way out maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't got to do the stop and chat. If I'm not going to see you throughout the year on our own, personally, no stop and chat.
Totally fair. You had a moment. There was a wave. You acknowledged it. You waved back. Were you muttering under your breath to your wife as they were walking over? I know you were.
Well, I think, what I did was after our wave, I was like, good, we got that out of the way. Perfect.
And
like,
they better not come over here.
We acknowledged. We had the hello. That's that. We'll see them next year.
Do they have ears? Like, they could hear this.
No, it's a... Oh.
Exactly. All the more reason to speak to them. You're going to see them once a year.
I
Give
was
them 3 minutes. What's wrong with you? You barbarian.
But this is not like a good friend, though. This is just somebody I know.
Well, they're certainly not now. I mean,
this was yesterday.
I shouldn't have said the restaurant specifically. Maybe then
it was an Applebee's. You misspoke.
It was Applebee's.
You're anti.
That's
Greg,
the shocking
Greg,
part to you.
Greg, what's happening with you? You thought
he's right.
You thought a sound of a Boston radio host. You thought it was you making a sound, and Mike is now just officially confusing you at every turn.
Right.
You don't know anything that's happening around here right now, and you just shouted your son was making the joke that it was Applebee's, so that the people he did see at Chili's last night won't be offended by learning about this on the air. And you're like, what? You go to Applebee's? You're not understanding anything that's happening on the show over the last 90 minutes. You're exhausted. That column you write tonight is going to be terrible.
Well, not necessarily. I do some of my best work exhausted. You know, you remember
Look at today.
You remember my Little League theory, right? It's
No.
the same thing that holds here. The Little League theory was if I didn't feel like playing, if I was like making up excuse, Mom, I'm not feeling that well, and she'll say, go play, and I would have 3 hits. Cote slam Pace's drugs.
Yeah. What theory is that?
If I felt like playing and if I was all gung-ho,
right,
that's when I ground out 3 times.
Overthinking.
And my mother thinks I got 3 hits because I didn't strike out.
Flu game.
That's the way that went.
This is how it felt for LeBron when Lonnie Walker went off in that fourth quarter, right? It's like, I didn't have to do any work today.
Lonnie Walker the fourth.
Lonnie Walker IV had it.
IV, that's right. Where are the first 3 Walkers? Okay. What do they think about Lonnie the fourth?
We are now going live to Diana Rossini outside of
Oh,
Jets
don't you dare.
headquarters.
Don't you dare.
Where Aaron Rodgers has his helmet off.
The first team just strolled out there with Zach Wilson.
He said he'd be coming forever for whatever veteran they put in that place. Briefly, I do want to highlight that Tom Brady is doing all those things that were reported last year. He's doing it actually right now, and no one's really talking about it.
The Raiders, yes.
Yeah, no, he's doing it. Were any of you confused when the schedule dropped and you saw 5 Raiders primetime games? Were any of you confused? Because I was.
I am right now. What are you talking about?
They had 5 primetime games. Yeah. And then a report, not even 24 hours later, Tom Brady interested in ownership stake of the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you super followed me or if you listen to the local hour, I've been telling you, it's the Raiders. He's going to the Raiders. Wow. So far, so good. Josh McDaniels is there. Hell, he can even kick Jimmy Garoppolo out for a second time when we know how much he hates him. This is happening, folks.
Are you reporting it?
Raiders. I heard.
Well said.
I heard last year that if he plays for anybody next year, it's the Raiders. And then I might have bought for a second that he was retired.
Right.
But now everything is firing back up again.
But if he has ownership, can he play? How does that work?
Yeah, he was going to play for the Dolphins. Like, they'll make it work. It's Tom Brady.
You're reporting that, or it's reckless speculation? Are you're reporting it without sources?
So far, so good on all the whispers that I heard about Las Vegas. It came out of nowhere to everybody else. You heard it here. And if you super followed, you knew.
I don't buy it. I'm not. I don't think that's happening.
Oh.
Just putting that out there.
Okay.
Okay, very strong take.
That was hotter than
don't
the last
you Don't you love when I just really...
What was that?
So you disagree. You just...
Do you think Tom Brady is done playing football?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think he's done playing football. I feel like you can't unretire twice. And if he does, that's almost admirable.
Charlotte, don't do it. I care about you. Wow.
Are you reporting it exclusively?
is there anyone like Charlotte that thinks that Tom Brady is also done sincerely? Dan, do you think that Tom Brady is done sincerely?
Greg does.
Of course.
Yeah. He just raised his hand.
Greg doesn't know where he is. So.
Yeah, of course.
He just raised his hand. That's right. He just raised
Well,
his
others are
hand.
talking, Dan. You don't want to interrupt.
Right. I think I'm back
So
in
vote
school.
for Greg. Yeah.
If Tom Brady plays football again, like I told you several months ago, if he plays football next season, he'd be doing so for the Raiders. If he plays football again, it's very clearly going to be the Raiders.
Owners have played before.
Chris Cote, they have.
Art Modell for a little bit.
Yeah, I
Really?
think, I think Ted Turner played in the game.
Oh,
one
stop
time. I
it.
think
No, he
so.
was manager.
Mr. McMahon was
Excuse me.
WWF
Yeah.
champion.
Antonio Brown playing this weekend.
Yeah, he is.
I want to go back for a second because the descent of Greg Cote over the last 3.5 hours has been just awe-inspiring to watch.
Okay.
But in the middle of that, he threw out, because he thinks that everyone knows every story about his life that he's ever told. He actually said the phrase, Cody Slam paces drugs, expecting the audience to know what he was talking about. So, lest you not know.
I think I've said it before.
Yeah, of course. Everyone was listening to everything you've ever said
Of
before
course. Well,
on the
I
show.
assume so. Extra credit if you were and got it.
What he's saying is that 60 years ago, he got a headline in the newspaper because he had an important hit in a game.
It was more than an important hit. It was a grand salami.
Yeah, Cody Slam.
Yeah, it was probably more like 55 years ago.
Right. I mean, you knew, so everyone knows.
What was the name of the team?
Cody's Slam Paces Drugs. The name of the sponsor of our team was Adler's Drugs.
Oh.
It was a Rexall store. I can still picture exactly where it was.
Tell us
Orange
about it.
facade, distinctive logo. I think they had a pestle and mortar worked into their logo. They took us there for an ice cream social after the season. And it was a memorable moment. The late great Hollywood Sun Tatler, Ed Plaisted. We remember Ed. The great Sun Tatler used that headline. I would give anything to have
This is
it.
the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by
Somewhere in my
DraftKings.
house is a clipping with that headline.